new GPU hardware with actual performance upgrades, a silver lining in the Technicolor closure, and exciting events and new releases are just around the corner. Welcome to the Render Report. Last week started with a solemn announcement from Technicolor. I'm sure by now you've heard the Technicolor Group is closing its doors after failing to find investors for its business. Technicolor has been an integral part of the development of cinema technologies for the past 110 years. The closure has made a big wave in the US as VFX, animation, and game studios encompassed by Technicolor have begun shutting down. But there is some good news here. The former leadership of VFX house The Mill are joining forces with Dream Machine Effects to launch a new business, Art Creative. It's reported that around 100 US employees from The Mill have come along for the ride. It's wonderful to hear that progress towards keeping our industry employed is already underway. If you know somebody who is affected by these closures, be sure to support them any way you can. Better days are on the horizon, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more positive news soon. Keeping the good news rolling, over in the UK, the Broadcast Awards 2025 took place at the beginning of February, and post-production house Envy took home Best Post-Production House Award. Based in London, Envy has worked on some very recognizable shows, including The Traders, Greg Davies' The Cleaner, and The Reluctant Traveler with Eugene Levy. They are a full-service, end-to-end post facility handling the workflow from capture to editing, coloring, and visual effects. What I found intriguing about Envy is that 60% of their staff came through their in-house training program, Envy Academy. They offer internal and external opportunities for artists to develop new skills and work alongside some seriously talented individuals. Envy is a fantastic example of how a business can give back to its employees and push everyone to new heights. What do you think of in-house training programs? Have you benefited from something similar in the past? Let us know in the comments. Crossing back over the Atlantic, Alkemy-x, whose recent notable projects include Asteroid City, The Whale, and one of my personal favorites, Only Murders in the Building, have announced a renewed focus in post-production. The Philly-based studio was founded in 1981 as a soup-to-nuts production company. In 2018, they expanded with a new VFX facility based in LA, and last week, President and CEO Justin Weinberg shared that the studio was resharpening their focus on post-production. Hopefully, this rededication will lead to advancements in technology, processing, and approach, while expanding job opportunities. Moving on to software. Right now is the calm before the storm as industry events creep closer and closer. But Red has released a new beta of their Red Cine X Pro app, which adds support for Nikon NRAW clips. This pairs nicely with their newly announced Nikon Z-mount versions of their Raptor and Komodo cameras. While I have yet to work with NRAW media, I'm excited to see how the format progresses as there is so much competition in the media codec space right now. Now is a great time to get your hands on some sample media and start working on your workflow. Over at Adobe, Photoshop for iPhone was announced and released last week, just in time for Apple to finish its acquisition of Pixelmator. This new app is a powerful upgrade over Photoshop Express, the previous mobile experience. Adobe also shared powerful updates to their desktop web experience. Having access to the free versions of these tools may just make life a touch more convenient for content creators. Of course, there are plenty of paywalled features which cost $7.99 a month or $69.99 a year. But if you pay for the Photoshop subscription, this new app is included in the current plan. Now it's time for some tutorials. While this first one isn't new, it is free, and everybody likes free. DaVinci Resolve guru, Jonas, put together a fantastic looking halation power grade. The results are very convincing and offer a level of control that you wouldn't expect from a node-based effect. While it is very computationally taxing, the look is worth the long render times. Jonas has a tutorial on his YouTube channel that explains how the effect works and how to use it, and there's a link in the description. As an editor, I often have to find or create motion backgrounds to give some visual intrigue to Zoom calls or still images. This week I found a tutorial that will help you create branded assets for your client work using gradients in After Effects. Manuel Does Motion does a great job making the tutorial accessible to beginners while exploring some complex topics like expressions. Thanks, Manuel. It's nearly spring, which means industry events are just around the corner. The 2025 South by Southwest Film and TV Festival starts March 7th and runs through the 15th. The festival has announced their full slate, which is jam-packed with some great-looking work across a range of genres, including Strange Journey, the story of Rocky Horror, Death of a Unicorn, and a handful of stop-motion animated short films that intrigued me. Badges are still available as of time of this recording, so if you have the means,
I highly recommend picking one up.
And NAB 2025 kicks off next month, starting April 5th, going through the 9th. So keep an eye out for a ton of new industry tech releases. Held in conjunction with NAB's show Las Vegas is the Post-Production World Conference. There will be a ton of workshops that look at AI-driven content creation, motion design, and color grading. From the sound of things, the showrunners are putting a major emphasis on human connection by creating daily gatherings, fostering community through networking events, and offering Meet the Speaker sessions. A full week pass is $13.99, while field workshops are available at $8.49. You can learn more and register at the link in the description. And speaking of human connection, let's dive into some community highlights. Starting off with Stages, a short film written by a former coworker of mine, Claire Haynes. The film delves into the reality of a woman's grief after the loss of her husband. While she isolates from her friends and family, she realizes she's not alone. The film has won several awards from film festivals, including Best Thriller at the Cal Film Festival. Claire released the film this past Saturday, so give it a watch with the link in the description. Great work, Claire. Also on YouTube, creator Tom Bowles shared an intriguing video where they tested a Super 16 format zoom lens on a full-frame sensor. The look is really fun, and I think it could be used for some great first-person perspective shots. But the circular format really got me thinking about post-production flexibility, as you can reframe the shot for a wide range of delivery specs. As 3x2 becomes more and more popular for productions that require canvas flexibility, I wonder if circular could be an alternative capture format in the future. What do you think? Would you experiment with circular format captures? How do you think it'll change storytelling? And Adam Olson over at Film Rocks shared a new camera from their collection, the Canon Zoom 250. Adam's video explains some of the history of the camera and how the film stock is being supported today. It has some neat examples of digitized Super 8 film, which is great for reference. While the camera collection series mostly focuses on still cameras, I think it's a great way to learn about different systems, processes, and formats. The films are wonderfully edited, and Adam just seems like a cool guy to hang out with. You can check out Film Rock's channel in the description below. And if you've recently created a short film or explored some unique avenue of filmmaking, I'd love to hear about it. Sound off in the comments. I already touched on NAB, where we're sure to hear all manner of new releases, but Panasonic and Sigma have a jump start with announcements of the Lumix S1R2 and the Sigma BF. The S1R2 is a 44.3 megapixel full-frame hybrid camera capable of recording 8K at 30 frames per second. I've never seen a list of recording options as dense as the S1R2's. One of my favorite resources for industry tech news, CVP, has a great review on the camera. There's a link in the description. As for the Sigma BF, it is a stills camera, but it's just too interesting looking not to bring up in this video. In my opinion, it's a fantastic looking camera, and it's a nice breath of fresh air in the camera market. Some quick specs and then I'll move on. It uses L-mount lenses, has a 24 megapixel full-frame BSI CMOS sensor, records up to 6K 30 FPS footage, and it doesn't have an external card slot, instead opting for 230 gigabytes of internal storage. What do you think about the design of the camera? And what are your thoughts on only having internal storage? Finally, AMD officially unveiled the RX 9070 and 9070 XT GPUs. While there aren't many details yet about how these cards will perform with productivity tasks, AMD has made some updates to the render engine, enabling AV1 support, up to 8K 80 FPS encode and decode, and they haven't put a cap on the number of concurrent session and encode streams, unlike NVIDIA, who saves that for their professional GPUs. We'll have to wait to learn more about how these cards perform compared to last generation and the current competition. But from what I can tell, it seems like the 9070 XT is going to be a great card for the money, assuming you can find one in stock when it releases. As for NVIDIA, Brad Betzel released a review of the RTX 5090 with an editor's perspective. If you've been curious about the real-world performance of this card in an editing rig, then I highly recommend you give it a read. That's it for this episode of the Render Report. You can find links to all the stories from this video in the description box down below. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos in the future. If you didn't, be sure to leave a comment with suggestions about other topics we should be covering in the show. Thanks for watching.